Hi guys, it's Mr. Gonzalez again, here at Lesson 8, Time Signatures and Note Values. The main objective of this lesson is to be able to identify time signatures and understand how they affect note values. Let's get started. The time signature appears at the beginning of the music after the clef sign. It contains two numbers, one above the other. The upper number tells us how many beats or counts are in each measure. In our case right now, we have 4. And the lower number indicates the type of note that receives 1 beat. In this case, it is a quarter note. To simplify it, the top number is how many beats. The bottom number is type of note that gets the beat. In 4/4 time, a quarter note is equal to 1 count, or beat. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, and clap the rhythms evenly, once per beat. The beat counts are written under the notes. Also say ta and clap. So we go like this. Ta, 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 ta. In 4/4 time, a half note is equal to 2 counts or beats. Count and clap the rhythm evenly, holding your hands together for 2 beats. The beat numbers are written under the notes. Also say ta-ah in a continuous sound while clapping. So instead of 1 clap and ta per number of beat, we're going to group them up in 2. So the first one is ta, ta. In 4/4 time, a whole note is equal to 4 counts or beats. Count and clap the rhythms evenly, hands together for 4 beats. The beat numbers are written under the notes. Also say ta, ah, ah, ah in a continuous sound and clap. So unlike our half note, instead of every 2 beats, we clap and say ta-ah, we're just going to hold out for all 4 beats. So it will sound like this. Ta. One last time. Ta. There will be a separate set of videos to help us understand this concept a little bit better. Let's take a look at some exercises. For our first example, we need to draw bar lines and stems on the appropriate notes in the following example, so there are 4 beats in each measure. I have already drawn our double bar lines at the end and given us a template for 4 beats per measure. Let's get started. Since I've already drawn out our beats underneath, we can count 4 beats and draw a bar line between beat 4 and beat 1. Let's do that first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, bar line. 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 And then the double bar goes at the end. Now that we have all our bar lines in, we can start looking for notes that need stems. Since this is sitting all by itself, it's a whole note and does not need a stem. Any black note head is a quarter note, so we don't even need to count out our beats. We can just add stems to this note, and then these 4 notes here, and we will have complete measures. But, unfortunately, we have this. Is this a half note or is this a whole note? Well, let's take a look at the measure it's in. The first 2 beats are occupied by this half note. There are only 2 beats left in this measure that can be filled, so this will need a stem and is a half note. Same thing with our last measure. We see a half note here, and this can either be a half note or a whole note. But since there are only 2 beats it can occupy, this will be a half note. And for a last example, I have already written our 4/4 time signature and our double bar line at the end. We are going to fill in the missing beats, if any, by adding only one note per measure. Let's get started. Here, we see a half note, so we know it occupies 2 beats, so this first measure only has 2 beats left. Since we only need one note to complete the measure, we can put another half note to fill in the last 2 beats. In our next measure, we see a quarter note and a half note taking up the first 3 beats of the measure, so we only need one beat. So we can use a quarter note to fill in that one beat. In the second to last measure, we see 3 quarter notes occupying the first 3 beats of the measure. So we know we can use another quarter note to fill out the measure. And lastly, we see a blank measure. We need 4 beats to fill up this measure, and we're only using one note per measure. We can use our whole note since it occupies 4 beats. That's it for today's lesson, guys. I hope you feel more confident in your ability to identify time signatures and how they affect note values. In our next lesson, we will be looking at whole, half, and quarter rests.